The story begins. A woman stands with scissors in her hand in front of another, asking a question about her outfit. The woman turns around and her gaze is fixed on the other, who is silent. The woman demands the scissors. The woman cuts the other's dress. She says that this dress is more suitable for Estelle now. The woman continues to point out that Estelle's appearance reflects her position in the family. Estelle mentally decides that she should keep her feelings in check. Estelle reflects on the fact that the only thing she can do is to contain her emotions. Estelle is told to get dressed, followed by a scene change. Estelle sits by the window, reminiscing about her surroundings. In past dialogues, there is a mention of father who acts aloof. The young man reflects on his relationship with the girl, whom he sees only as a toy. He does not reflect on his feelings. The young man instructs Estelle to do something, treating her without proper respect. She feels desperate and begs for mercy, just so she won't be sold as a commodity. She is interrupted by a strict order for silence, immersing herself in thoughts about the situation with the emperor, switching to memories of her father, Emperor Hastian, who ignores her suffering. She recalls a brief happy time with her mother, who cared for her. Estelle realizes how lonely she was in the palace. She worries about the endless cycle of time that resembles a hellish punishment. Determined to escape, she heads to the ice castle, the place where the demon lurks. Legend speaks of an apparition during the full moon of winter. Estelle recalls the legend. If a sacrifice is brought to the castle, the blue-eyed demon will appear. The legend has to do with the fact that the demon can throw off its shackles and survive. She has an idea about the veracity of this tale. In front of the castle, she whispers the name. An exciting premonition emerges. Estelle thinks perhaps the legend really does exist. Blood drips onto the snow. The voice urges Estelle to wake up. She stares at the bloody snow with her feet and ponders the legend. She questions if it is an illusion, asking the demon to awaken. Estelle raises her head to the stars, pondering if it was in vain, until the scent of flowers comes over her. Estelle smells a pleasant odor before a man approaches her. She notices the stranger, sensing his proximity. She thinks wistfully about the union of her family and the steppe people, looking up at the moon. The man marvels at how fate is intertwined with legend. She feels his touch and he speaks of the moon. Estelle remembers the wound on her arm and the promise she made to herself. She asks for help, looking at the castle. She says that in exchange for being reborn, she wants to become the Moon Empress. The stranger wonders what she is willing to give in return. Estelle declares that she is willing to give him everything. He looks at her, interested in her determination. The story begins by mentioning the tranquility that has been maintained in the northern continent through the union of sword and ice. This is the history of the Hartan Empire. The small figure sets up the story by telling how she was the only one who dared to approach the cold castle. She describes the feeling of fleeing and meeting the one who filled her with fear. Estelle de Hartan finds herself in front of a gloomy and majestic castle. This place turns out to be the center of the story told. Estelle wakes up in bed, perplexed as to what is happening. She realizes that she was caught in a snowstorm last night. She can't believe what is happening. The castle of ice still visible outside her window raises questions for her. She wonders why she can still see it. Estelle abruptly recalls the earlier event. Realizing that the knock on the door has distracted her, she looks out the window, then notices the letter with the seal. She remembers a man with sapphire blue eyes. The smell that filled her chest remains in her memory. The man greets Estelle with some menace. This puts her on edge. She wonders what she has done. Estelle is distracted by a knock on the door. Someone announces that they are about to enter. A maid enters the room with two companions. She says, "Come in," and they follow the order. The maid speaks of the room being reserved for Estelle as a token of Hartan's fame. The man standing next to her confirms this. Estelle realizes she is in a familiar place. Estelle reflects on the servant who is a demon of the ice castle and now serves her. She ponders that this must have been related to an event that happened yesterday, or recently. She had not at all expected such a turn. Estelle wonders why a new servant was hired. Her interlocutor attributes it to a shortage of staff and offers her service with no shortcomings. She is concerned about the fact that she has a male servant in her chambers. She wonders about the appropriate norms in such a situation. The maids leave, leaving Estelle and her new servant alone. Estelle asks how he intends to fulfill his duties. The man assures her that he can handle any task. The man invites Estelle to touch and feel his strength. This should help relieve her tension. Estelle is taken aback by this unexpected directness and finds herself in his arms. She is shocked by his actions. The man, calmly and confidently, asks her not to worry or panic. He approaches Estelle, which takes her breath away. She is lost in what is happening. The man notes Estelle's wonderful scent, which he likes very much. Estelle is confused by his attention and turns to him with a question. He finally introduces himself as Saddle, revealing his name. Estelle asks Saddle to stop joking and answer her question. Saddle replies that of course he is willing to run her errands. He promises to help Estelle achieve the fame she seeks. However, if Estelle wants to achieve the result all at once, Saddle assures her that that too can be arranged. He offers to think about their future, promising to make her first among the royal household. Saddle's unfinished dialogue about the shining honor's inheritance makes one wonder about her family's role. The woman says there is no need for anything. She reflects that what she wants is not the empty shell of a throne. Her desire concerns revenge on those who have made her suffer. She declares emphatically that her goal is just that. The man turns to Estelle, saying that he agrees with her. He says that he will fulfill her wishes. The man emphasizes that until his goal is achieved, Estelle remains his mistress. The woman wonders what will happen after his goal is achieved. The man responds by saying that if that happens, he wants not only his own body, but his soul as well. He adds that he wants her innocent soul in its entirety. Outside, the scene describes a mysterious ice castle that has suddenly appeared in the air above the city. It causes wonder and alarm among the inhabitants, as its appearance is linked to a mystical phenomenon. The town is shocked and everyone meets what is happening with disbelief and apprehension. One of the counselors suggests that scientists be immediately assembled to investigate the growths on the ice castle. The emperor is perplexed as to why this upheaval has happened now, and what might be behind it. The emperor ponders the possibility of declaring the ice castle an auspicious sign. He interrupts his thoughts, turning to his interlocutor. The Earl of Bellevue joins the discussion, suggesting that it be considered an auspicious sign. His suggestion receives approval, emphasizing the wisdom shown by the Earl of Bellevue. The emperor admires the count's proposal, finding it remarkable. He orders the ice castle to be proclaimed a good omen. However, doubts arise as the castle is haunted by a demon with blue eyes. As the count leaves, he is asked where he is going. When asked to talk before he leaves, the count says he has urgent business to attend to. He smiles and says goodbye, mentioning his departure. The woman greets the count and calls him by name as he enters the hall. She asks everyone to remove themselves, leaving them alone. In private, she shares that she has missed the count. The count replies that it has been a long time since he has seen her and mentions her status as empress. She notes that when they are alone, he should not speak so formally. The empress asks about Ascalon's affairs, expressing concern for her son. The count replies that she need not worry, and expresses affectionate maternal concern. Behind-the-scenes information is revealed about other mysterious events related to the woman and her journey through the cities. The empress is angry with the mysterious woman, deciding to teach her a lesson. She summons her maid by name. The empress orders the princess to be brought in, wasting no time. The man tells the woman that she will continue to work as his companion and stay with him. He assures her that he will always be there for her. However, he is reminded that a man of uncertain status cannot be in the princess's palace. The man is sure that this will not surprise anyone. He explains that it has already been decided and it will be arranged that way. The princess receives a message about Ira's visit. The man offers Estelle to come along with him, He asks to show him the people she wants to eliminate. In the sumptuous hall, the man announces that the empress and the princess have arrived. Those present show attention and readiness to meet them. The woman addresses the Earl of Bellevue, causing him to exclaim or react. She is seated in an armchair holding a fan. Another woman stands before the empress, introducing herself under the glory of Hartan. This scene emphasizes her respect and submission. The woman sitting in the chair asks the one if she was able to lure the man to the palace so quickly, showing interest or sarcasm in her voice. The woman in the chair insinuates that the interlocutor resembles her mother by describing her as vulgar and indecent, implying disdain. The woman in the chair asks the other person to raise her head, showing interest or insistence. A young girl thinks about how much she wishes she could keep this man by her side and dreams about it all night long. She is struck by how much she cares for him. The woman in the chair wonders who this man is, who is not at all suitable for the girl, arouses interest in the identity of this man. The girl mentions that this person is a new assistant assigned to her palace, revealing details about her entourage. The woman in the chair tells the person to leave, ending the conversation. This demonstrates her authority and persistence. The girl reflects on the fact that this is the first time she has left the empress's palace without incident, showing her feelings and thoughts about the current situation. The man suddenly asks the girl if she is trying to seduce the empress. This causes surprise and intrigue. The man confidently states that if it is necessary, he is willing to do anything, showing determination. The girl wonders if he is disgusted by the dirty methods. He leaves her pensive, which shows her doubts. The man reminds her of his promise to make her empress, adding confidence to his intentions. The girl replies that she is willing to use any means if it will allow her to achieve the result, emphasizing her determination. The man wonders if that is why she woke him to deal with them. Their alliance and determination to achieve the goal is emphasized. The man tells her that she must be careful and assertive, especially when she claims the throne of empress. The man agrees to the girl's request to call him master, showing trust in the relationship. The girl speculates about the choice of means to achieve her goal, wondering what method is capable of helping her. The man explains that to become an empress, she needs the support of those around her, emphasizing the importance of alliances. He then adds that in order to do so, the empress's power must be weakened, and the first thing to do is to destroy her alliance with the count, explaining the policy of action. The girl ponders the difficulties in destroying their relationship, expressing her fears. She realizes that simply striking one side is futile, to which arises the suggestion to engage both sides in their strategy. The girl suggests splitting the effort between the two sides, which partially calms her anxiety. The man states that he will take care of the count if she promises to focus on the empress while planning to split the effort. The girl replies that she thinks this is impossible, explaining her lack of qualities that might attract the count. The man asks if she thinks she means seduction in the literal sense, which causes the girl embarrassment. He assures her of her attractiveness, which emphasizes her confidence in herself and in his words. There is her reflection on how far she is willing to go to achieve her goals, expressing anxiety and hope. There is a philosophical reflection on Deveris' influence and impact on their world, emphasizing her secret origin. The historical aspect is related to destruction and war, showing the brutal events of the past. The eternal questions and consequences of past actions, it evokes deep feelings and apprehension. She makes sure that no one must find out about her true identity and origin. Deveris trying to keep the secret. The man remarks that the fact that Estelle is Deveris is of little importance to him, perhaps showing indifference to her secret. Nevertheless, it leaves her soul with a certain sense of emptiness and relief at the same time, indicating her inner conflict. The man informs her that they are approaching the lunar carnival while in the arms of a mysterious entourage. He explains that it is a famous tavern where nobles and powerful merchants gather to exchange secret information. The lunar carnival is a grand establishment in the capital that epitomizes luxury and influence. The man promises to get information about the Count of Bellevue and also get what the girl needs, strengthening their cooperation. The guards stop them, requiring a pass to enter, making it difficult to access the establishment. The girl is surprised, but the man assures her that this experience will become habitual for her, which shows his confidence. He tells her of the importance of the changes that will begin from today, prophesying change. In the interior of the tavern, they wonder what is in front of them and notice that it looks attractive, paying attention to the details. In the picture, the man asks the woman if it surprised her. He adds that she should get used to it. He goes on to say that people bowing down to her will become commonplace for her. The scene takes place in a large hall with guards. A woman and a man are walking down the hall. The man says whether it is true that she actually did it. He mentions what an unsweet life awaits the princess even if she becomes ruler. A woman in a black robe walks along the corridor. A woman asks a man if he knows who will be attending. He replies that he is curious. The scene shows a woman, a famous widow in social circles. Here a woman in a black robe holds a flower in her hand. The background shows a building shrouded in snowflakes. The atmosphere is mysterious and a little ominous, as before an important event. A woman stops near the door, putting on her hood. A rustle is heard and a phrase is uttered from behind the door. "You must be here." An atmosphere of anticipation and anxiety. When the door opens, a woman and a man step inside. The man says, "This way," and invites them to follow him. The clash of bright light from the room emphasizes the solemnity of the moment. The woman looks around the room and notices that it is filled with books. She is impressed by the scale of the library, reflecting the importance of the place. A child is lying on the floor with a book in his hands. He thinks it looks delicious. The woman looks at it with interest and bewilderment, noting that it is a child. A young man, male, asks the woman if she is curious. A woman in a black robe observes the scene. The young boy admits that curiosity is his life source. He looks cheerfully at the people around him, immersed in their own affairs. The young man reflects that knowledge, awareness, and memorization is what fills him the most. He attaches great importance to it, speaking with seriousness. The woman makes a sound of surprise. The guy picks up a good scent from the woman and enjoys its presence. The young man turns to the woman and asks if she will share some of what she brought with him. His gaze is directed at her, waiting for an answer. The man intervenes, interrupting the young man, and says enough is enough. The young man backs away, feeling somewhat annoyed at what has happened. The young man grudgingly asks why he was called if he wasn't going to share. His emotions clearly give away his displeasure with the situation. The young man asks the man why he likes to be here. The man replies that it is because he is human. The woman asks if this is really a contract. The young man is amazed that it is indeed a contract. The man confirms and the young man exclaims in surprise. A woman in a black robe enters, greeting the princess. She is called Princess Estelle, eliciting respect from those around her. A young man greets the princess under the eternal glory of Hantaean and remarks that he saw her reading a book earlier. The princess notes his interest in the book. The princess says she was pleased as she found the book interesting. The young man continues the conversation related to books. The young man is surprised that the princess has read the Book of Sunset, which is not an ordinary book. He looks at it with interest. The young man exclaims, asking if she hopes to read his further thoughts. The princess replies that of course she has read. The young man speaks to the princess while sitting on a stack of books. A dialogue ensues between them, showing mutual interest. The young man, admiringly, remarks that the princess looks very appetizing. He also admires her flavor. The princess suggests with an understanding smile that the young man is probably not human. He doesn't deny it and smiles seductively. The young man laughs and admits he was too obvious to begin with. His slight mockery makes the conversation less formal. There is a sense of anticipation now that they are here. The young man listens to the situation. The young man shows a willingness to introduce himself by moving closer to the princess. The situation becomes tense and the anticipation increases. The young man introduces himself as Loa, the owner of Luna Charade. His introduction sounds solemn and meaningful. Loa approaches the princess to ask if she would like to spend some time alone with him, piquing her interest. The man warns Loa to keep things within bounds. His warning is serious and insistent. Loa, having been warned, takes it all as a joke, but the man remains stern. Loa, spreading himself cheerfully, says it was a joke. He clearly did not expect such a serious reaction. The man orders to investigate Count Bellevue and also purchase a dress and accessories for the princess so she can try them on right away. He shows his serious side. The man offers to return back, ending their visit with a sudden movement, showing that business is finished. Loa says goodbye, expressing his hope that he will meet the princess again. He adds that Luna Sharada will always be open to her. The man holds the weary princess, saying that going through teleportation twice is too hard for the princess. The man confirms that the owner of Luna Sharada is behaving quite unusually, showing some seriousness. For a while, the man reveals that Loa uses his angelic abilities to distract himself from the boredom of immortality. This demonstrates his extraordinary abilities. The princess is clearly worried. The man notes that they always remain on guard, adding a note of unease to what is happening. The man considers the night sky when asked if he is the king. He answers uncertainly. He shares that among all, he is the oldest and strongest. A Loa manifesting its true form is a sign of trust, he says. The man adds that Loa is greedy, so one should be careful while giving the princess an admonition. The man continues to emphasize the caution important when meeting Loa, showing concern for the princess. The princess asks if she should be careful with him as well. Her question implies further disclosure of their relationship. The princess lies on the roof of a building thinking aloud whether she should be careful with him too. The scene creates a sense of vulnerability. The man asks a question about what Estelle is thinking, creating a sense of harmony and understanding between them. A man stands next to a woman sitting on a chair and asks her if she is worried. The man says the name Estelle. The man leans over the woman and she looks at him. He is interested in her opinion. The woman recalls the words, "You are attractive." The man asks if she believed those words even a little. The text block describes how the northern continent is slowly returning to its former tranquility after the great turmoil. It is mentioned how the ice castle has become a symbol of the glory of the empire, spreading rumors of the blessing. It is mentioned that nothing has been revealed yet. The woman recalls that kiss was an impulsive act. She reflects on the fact that the man gave her a chance to escape, but she stayed and doesn't understand why. The woman realizes that upon returning to herself, she had already kissed him. She reflects that for him, the kiss is probably just a means to an end. The man explains that Estelle is so attractive that people would be mesmerized by her for centuries. Estelle recalls how they came to be in this situation and ponders further. He focused on running the princess palace as if he were her true servant. The woman notices changes in the palace that have become so significant that it has become unrecognizable. She also notes that Aria is no longer looking for her. Aria, who had always summoned her when bored, now remained unusually quiet. Estelle comes up with an assumption about this situation. She thinks of the fact that Aria has shown interest in Sada, and that taking away the princess's powerless servant would be a trifle to her. These events seem insignificant to her, and she wonders why she cares. A man suddenly enters the room, and she asks about it. He embarrassedly stops her, telling her that enough is enough. She reports that it's all healed, and the man smiles. The woman expresses bewilderment at his disappearing without warning. She tells him that she has somewhere to go, and the man asks where exactly. Estelle replies that she is going to meet the Earl of Bellevue. She examines a piece of jewelry made for her and ponders what it is. Estelle wonders if it has something to do with the Earl of Bellevue. The man states that it would certainly interest him. She considers it a test. The woman ponders if she will be able to fulfill the demands that will be placed upon her. She ponders what an evil demon who has lost his red soul might do. The woman fears that he, acting on his own accord, will fulfill a contract she does not desire. She realizes she must create situations that will pique his interest. The man assures her of his coping, gently addressing her as Estelle. The main character is looking at the people at the ball and reflects that no one has interested him today. He believes this is due to his troubled thoughts and remembers meeting Isla when he came of age. He was deeply in love with the person he thought he would spend the rest of his life with, as their parents were engaged before they were born. They made a promise to each other to marry when they grew up, but it was never fulfilled. In the background is shown a memory of him walking alone, remembering the days when he visited a remote area. There, he saw how the emperor had paid attention to Isla and seemed to possess her easily. She could not bear the humiliation and was finally forced to submit. The woman assures the protagonist that she can help him. Isla wants revenge on Hastian for making a desert woman pregnant and then abandoning her. He allied himself with the empress and became her lover, thus tarnishing the empire's blood heritage with his offspring. Their child, Aselian, became the crown prince of the empire. However, this was not enough for this man, and he decided to exact the perfect revenge by advancing to the heart of power. He gained the power to control people as he pleased and enjoyed unimaginable luxuries. All these luxuries are now the norm for him. He turns to his assistant. The new nobleman from the province has impressed him with his statuesque appearance, as well as a new noble lady with whom he has established a good rapport. Ever since Isla caught his attention, he has lost interest in that woman. He admits that he is tired of her game and realizes that this could be a problem. He sees the masked woman and she catches his attention. Recognition pervades him as the necklace was a gift to them. He remembers raising money for this gift she treasured the most, and her happy smile is still in his memories. He asks the woman how she got the necklace. The woman replies that she came to meet the Count of Bellevue. She repeats that she has come to see him, and the Count wonders if the woman has gone to all this trouble just to meet him. He agrees to meet on the condition that she tell him about the necklace. The woman says he will choose what he wants. She asks if it matters to him and offers to return the necklace. They decide to play a game, the winner of which will get whatever he wants. The Count wonders what the game will be and if he will get the necklace if he wins. He agrees to start the game. The first hint is that they've met before. He wonders if it was Lady Eniha. The woman rejects the suggestion, saying it's wrong. She calls his speculation bold and suggests he continue. He rejects the possibility that it could be a princess because of the difference in presence. He admits he doesn't know and offers to move on to the next clue. The woman says she knows his name and offers to share the information. He shows no interest and continues to ponder. He remembers how afraid he was to break up with her and thinks about how it could have been a different beginning. The woman encourages him to start thinking differently and suggests continuing the conversation another time. She promises that they will see each other again soon, and the Count tries to hold on to her. He sees her disappear and is perplexed. Several characters are portrayed, including Emperor Hastian, Estelle, and others who seem to be important to the plot. The characters are portrayed in portraits with names, linking them to the story. On the balcony, the couple discusses whether the woman was alone the whole time, to which the man responds in the affirmative, adding that he would not have sent her there unaccompanied. The man assures the woman that he appreciated her from the beginning. The text emphasizes that she responded to his actions and words. The woman moves through the ballroom where no one pays attention to her. She is compared to a shadow at a ball, alone surrounded by people. She continues walking, reflecting on how her presence has gone unnoticed, recalling the somber colors, a symbol of her feelings. The reflection is accompanied by images of snow-covered stairs, emphasizing the loneliness of the heroine. A voice in her head reminds her that she continues to move forward. By putting on the mask, the woman becomes more confident, believing that she can now act more freely, hiding behind the masquerade face. The woman watches as the man becomes an important figure under the empress. He moves toward the center of power, which causes her questions and anxiety. The woman questions the need to interact with a certain man. Her reasons compel her to reflect. The masked woman notices that she has never seen the man standing in front of her before, which brings an element of surprise into her life. The man asks if the woman has ever danced, to which she replies that she may have forgotten all the moves, causing him to wonder. The man, holding her, comments that their time together was exciting, causing the woman to ponder the meaning of what was happening. The woman begins to realize why he was sent alone. She feels herself gaining confidence for the first time being around him. The reflection in the water reminds the woman of her equality with those she has always considered superior. The man has helped her reevaluate her view of the past. An architectural building is visible in the night, serving as a backdrop to reflect on the rarity of attending the ball. The woman realizes that the man's attention brings out a strange feeling in her that has never allowed her to trust fully. She is concerned that it has been so long since the last dance that all may be forgotten. The man assures her that this is normal as it has been a long time for him too since the last dance. He offers to test how much they have forgotten dancing by suggesting that they do it together while holding her hand. At the climax of the story, the characters find themselves in an embrace, surprised by an unexpected mutual intimacy. The woman tries to control her feelings by being realistic, but what happens forces her to recognize her weaknesses. The woman realizes that the man probably has an influence on her feelings, and this disturbs her. A man makes an offer to make the evening even more exciting. Name in mind more exciting options. He asks a question about a gift she has observed before, wondering if she likes it. She admits that every time he does something it gives her a strange sensation, hinting at something more. The man promises to make sure there are no more strange feelings, comforting her. He thinks that of all the moments, this will be the most pleasant, approaching her for a kiss. The jewelry falls to the floor the moment their lips connect, reflecting the excitement of the scene. The feeling of coldness from the first kiss causes the woman to feel fear, though logically. The man offers to return, resuming the action by holding her hand to continue. The woman confirms his offer to return by agreeing with him and following him. In another scene, a character gets out of bed in a room, experiencing heavy moments with labored breathing. Upon waking up, the woman notices that the accessory in her hand is still hot, surprising her. The woman breathes heavily after sleeping, trying to understand her feelings and condition. Her memories of the past include images of the man she once respected and the man he has become. The woman's inner experiences are disgusted and passionate when she finally awakens from sleep. The woman cries out the need to let go of her past by expressing her feelings out loud. She reflects on the man she has raised and enthroned, trying to protect her work from destruction. A woman notes the passionate, short lives of people who suddenly disappear. A man observes a sleeping woman in her room, marveling at her inner light in the middle of the night. He realizes that she has always been different, emphasizing her uniqueness compared to other people. A man ponders incomprehensible feelings of discomfort, reflecting on human emotional aspects. An open book catches her attention, evoking memories of the angel who awakened her from the ice. The characters recalls a life filled with cold and darkness where she became his savior from the captivity of the ice. Lowering the jewelry, the man gently asks Estelle not to reject him again next time, expressing a tender moment. The character notes that the only list available to her is the public documents. After returning from the ball, there is a sense of need for change. To avoid manipulation, she decides to be more proactive and has attempted to compile a list of neutral nobles that she can sympathize with and are not affiliated with the Crown Prince's faction. She thinks buying information from Moon Charade would be better, but it's a limitation because more than just names and titles are needed. After what she saw that day, she felt a strong desire to return. The more she thinks about it, the more frightening it becomes. Another character asks what she's doing. She looks tired after physically interacting with him. The character shares that since arriving at the Empress Palace, he has taken on most of the work, including the most elaborate clothing and accessorizing. He determines that even hairstyling is done with more dexterity than most maids and notes her approval. He claims interest because she is good at everything, saying that there is plenty of time and anything can be done. He suggests that with endless time and nothing to do, he would try different things for fun, like becoming a cook. He claims it's a matter of necessity, not greatness. She seems to be embarrassed. Keeping up appearances is not an easy task, he states, turning to Estelle. She feels it is almost like a boast of superiority. He thinks about the fact that one should not think nonsensical thoughts. News arrives of the arrival of the head maid from the empress palace. Estelle is informed that the empress wishes to see her in the garden, to which she feels surprised. Estelle wonders why she is so nervous and decides to change her dress, but she is told that this is not necessary. Her objection that this is a meeting with the empress is answered by who would dare raise a hand to her. An intimate moment occurs between the two characters. She looks surprised. A character gently touches her face, creating a moment of intimacy. The crown prince notices her and asks if Estelle is late. He notes that the tea has already gone cold. Estelle turns to the crown prince, signaling her presence. The prince mentions that it's been hard to see her lately. She says that she heard the empress looking for her, but doesn't understand why she is here. The prince replies that if she had been summoned, she would not have come. He notes that she never listened to him, asking what the reason for her summoning was. He says he summoned her because he wanted to see her. As she knows, there isn't much opportunity for action in this boring palace. She reflects on her younger brother, who despite being close in age, had a completely different status as a prince receiving all the attention from his parents. Since his early childhood, he was always the child of the emperor and crown prince, receiving love and care from everyone around him. This put her in the shadows, struggling with negative feelings from her childhood and persecution in her dreams. Now his quick change in behavior and attempts to get closer only seem like another one of his games to her. He asks if the new butler is accompanying the princess. She mentions how rumors are spreading in the castle. He clarifies that it is just a servant. The prince continues to provoke her by asking how she plans to attract attention. However, he hints at the sacrifice she has chosen to make for her. He jokingly wonders if her mother's name is Ileana, causing her nervous tension. The emperor has lost interest in niceties, and he thinks it is understandable. He shows sympathy and says he enjoys her company. The prince talks about how although it has been warm the past few days, it will soon be cold again, asking what is the best action to take in the meantime. Estelle shares that one should avoid the cold. He advises lying on the ground like a dead rat to avoid a snowstorm, asking her to remember that. He assures her that he always takes care of her. He plans to leave but talks about it first. She is told she cannot leave as permission has not been given. In a moment of critical tension, a cup falls to the floor, eliciting a surprised reaction. In the first image, spilled wine spills on the floor and a man notices that his shoes are soiled. In the second image, a man with glasses sitting on a throne asks a girl named Estelle for help. In the third image, the girl, remembering that the situation seems familiar, comes to the conclusion that no one will intervene and, as always, she needs to wipe up the spilled tea herself. The fourth image shows the girl and the man, where the girl says that it is her duty. The fifth image shows a character looking surprised as suddenly everything has stopped. In the sixth image, another person tries to understand why the ice is behaving so strangely and questions the cause of the phenomenon. In the seventh image, the girl suddenly faints from shock. The man in the eighth image suggests that the girl eliminate other people for her. The man continues, saying that he will eliminate anything Estelle would not want to see, allowing her to just sit on the throne. The girl reflects that she originally wanted to take the easier and more comfortable path, remembering how easy it could have been. She admits to herself that her original intent was not, and her real goal is now clear. She also longs to see blood. In the 12th image, she recalls the decision she made the night she was victimized and decides to become stronger for the sake of her loved ones by fighting back. The man reminds the girl that he doesn't want to decide things so easily. The man bows to the girl, explaining that he is her personal servant. In the 15th image, blood suddenly begins to drip, and the people around them worry about the health of one of the people present. The man, hiding a smile, comments that he will tease her a little. The man stands behind the girl and asks permission for his actions. The image shows a woman who has just stepped out of a carriage. She is asked about her arrival. The 19th image shows a woman in an elegant dress with an inscription identifying her as the Marquise of Packrell. The woman, clutching her gloved hand, asks if there was anything out of the ordinary. The man politely informs her that there was a request to find a way to cure the crown prince of an illness. The woman, studying the letter, reflects with distaste at how tedious this is. She leaves, cryptically asking the man to tell the rest later, which he takes as instructed. A boy appears, exclaiming Bien's name, and peers curiously through the stacks of books. The woman tells the boy that she cannot see him because of his small stature, and threatens a nickname for the Marquis. The woman's response indicates to the boy to do what he wants, but teases him with the remark. She self-ironically remarks that she has indeed absorbed her husband. The woman wonders if the previously mentioned Lord Saddle has visited, and is told that he recently left. The boy asks many questions about why the ice has melted and the incidents of those around him. The woman, answering mockingly, asks not to be surprised, as recent events have to do with Lord Saddle's actions and the difficulties for the Empire. Meanwhile, the girl is promised to be told everything further, asked not to be surprised as she holds the book in her hands. She confirms that Lord Saddle has gotten a contractor. The boy is amazed at what he hears, expressing surprise. The girl in the book mentions that the contractor is Princess Estelle of the Hartan royal family. Bien seems surprised and recalls the very same girl from the desert, prompting the woman to clarify her words. The woman shakes her head, questioning who is siding with the princess. The woman notices that today there was a request to the lunar expanse to find a way to treat the crown prince for his peculiar symptoms. The prince finds himself facing an illness, with unusual symptoms of a disease that causes him to lose blood. The prince suffers from a constant cold, as if ice is stuck inside him. The woman suggests that this may be the work of Lord Saddle, and because of this there is no improvement in the prince's condition. The woman wonders what enchantments the princess used to make Lord Saddle manifest himself in the human worlds and perform such actions. The woman thinks about why even Loa sided with the princess, turning the question to Bien. The woman notices that the princess looks really appetizing, causing the boy to misunderstand. The memories say that there used to be substances of royal blood, but there has been nothing like that lately. She personifies the princess with a scent she has never encountered before, mysterious and appealing. She admits that she wishes she could claw her way into her immediately. The woman tells the boy that he would like the princess too. The woman, watching the boy's expression, expresses hope that this will not be true. A man appears with an expression of concern about the princess. Someone sees someone else's leg and expresses reluctance to have it. Any desire to see further development is eliminated. A man stands in the library and disapproves of a competing presence. He is clearly expressing his distaste for additional competitors in this environment. The woman in the red dress asks the man his reason for being here. She asks what exactly brought him here. The man discusses the need to help someone get to a certain place that is given special meaning, calling it "down with evil." Notices were posted everywhere. A large reward was announced for those who could help the crown prince. Doctors and scientists began to develop methods to help without leaving the crown prince who could not get out of bed. The discipline of the succession began to weaken. All of this was the result of some joke by Sadazel that led to chaos. The man stares at the reflection in the glass, immersed in thought and apparently acting with a purpose. Although he is like snow that quickly disappears, there is a desire to see the good in the man, like the eternal snow in winter. The woman is informed of the arrival of a letter. Her Highness expresses gratitude for the delivery. To receive a letter from a noble person in the imperial palace is rare. This letter is from the wife of the Marquis of Persilia. The wife of the Marquis, known as the Queen of High Society, with her entourage and is a wealthy widow, the owner of the Moon Charade. She was respected by all and many were willing to pay for her favor. The question of whether a man of high society is interested. A woman wonders if she is invited to the Moon Charade. Her interest is piqued by an invitation from a man of high society. The woman politely thanks and lets the maid go after receiving the letter. Although it seems suspicious, she realizes there is no reason to refuse. This is a valuable chance under the circumstances. A carriage sent by the Marquis's wife is served in front of her. She awaits the ride. Sadazel and the woman are together and he is willing to accompany her. She thanks the other woman for the opportunity. In the carriage, the man stares out the window, immersed in his thoughts. The woman is disturbed by his unequal face. Everything is going according to his plan, and she realizes that for him it's routine. The woman understands why he's doing this. She recognizes the motives behind his behavior. Expectations are centered on great things, not on her. Doubts about her ability to revitalize the title. The woman realizes she may not trust her under the circumstances, counting on other possibilities. She ponders that this may be a strategy for making connections in high places. It is a quick way to get attention. The woman wonders when the man will stop playing with the subject he was distracted by in their conversation. The man wonders if she is concerned about the crown prince's condition. The woman remarks that the reason is something else. The man asks if she really enjoys the object of being raised to laughter. He assumes that she does enjoy it. He offers her the opportunity to change her status a bit if it is really to her liking. She is surprised at his words and hurries out of the carriage. Something has struck her. The arriving couple is greeted with great honor. At the moon charade, the arriving princess is greeted. The marquis's wife, whom the man has glimpsed before, attends the reception. She gives the impression of an influential person. The woman invites him to come in and look around. She waits eagerly for them to be ready. The woman wonders if the marquis's wife has also come from another world. This arouses her curiosity. The marquis's wife notices that she has been caught in a moment of unexpected behavior. The woman notices that the butler is usually the first to serve tea. This leads her to think about manners. The marquis's wife says that people with knowledge of social manners should be aware of such things. The marquis's wife suggests that she be addressed simply by her first name, but her guest politely calls her madam. She insists on being called simply by her first name, expressing her preference for informality. The woman accepts the request and begins to call her by her first name as she requested. The marquis's wife marvels at this show of trust, saying that the princess is so sweet that she would eat her up. Sadazel intervenes, urging the woman not to go overboard with the jokes. His intervention brings some change to the situation. The marquis's wife agrees to the request and laughs quietly as she sinks into her thoughts. Sadazel informs her that he has business to attend to and will be away for a while. He asks to stay with Madame while he is away so that she will not be bored, and she agrees. The woman offers to spend a pleasant time together, which implies that they will continue their communication. The marquis's wife invites him to follow her, opening up new perspectives on their interaction. Satazel, the Earl of Bellevue, Ileana, Emperor Hastian, Crown Prince Assalon, and Estelle are depicted as central characters. Two women are shown near the door, one in a black dress, the other in a beautiful gown. Both are surprised, apparently by an event or sound. The beautifully decorated room is in rapture. The girl in the white dress expresses surprise at the splendor of the room. A woman in black asks if the other woman likes it. She is delighted to get a positive response. The woman in black explains that it is a room made for a princess. The princess expresses bewilderment. The woman in black happily announces that the entire room belongs to the princess. The princess is surprised to realize that it all belongs to her. The woman in black tells her that she has a dress made of special materials. The princess asks about the special materials. A story comes to mind about a woman who became famous because of her looks. The story is about a girl from an ordinary family who married a marquis. Unfortunately, their marriage was short-lived. The marquis died a year after the wedding from an unknown illness, but the people at the funeral discussed the marquis's dress. The guests at the funeral were interested in the dress, not the marquis himself. The woman in black donned silk gloves and flowers, winning the love of the aristocracy. Her true nature remained undiscovered. Her silk was called parcel silk. The princess inquires about the material used for clothing called parcel silk. The woman in black explains that that is what people call it. The princess admits to being interested, asks if it is possible to learn the secret of the demon. The woman informs that it is a spider's web. The princess apologizes for being frightened. The man reassures her, saying it's all right. The woman in black explains that the clothes are made from her web. The woman in black says that looking like a person takes a lot of energy. She takes a form that is closer to her true self. Attention is emphasized on the princess' expression. She is troubled by demons. The woman explains that when she takes the form of a spider, she produces silk for cloth. A young man declares that he is a human. A human form such as Loa's is a sign of strength. The man continues that maintaining an adult image requires a lot of energy, so he usually stays in child form. The woman talks about the uniqueness of Cetazzle. All northern snow and ice originate from him. The story is based on the creation myth of the Hartan Empire, which makes it dangerous. The princess is not sure whether to take part as it could be a cause of danger. The woman offers to try on the dress, adding flowers and ribbons, reflecting her enthusiasm. The woman says she will step away for a while, surprising the princess. The woman asks the princess to wait, instructing Loya to take care of her. The princess is having a hard time getting used to her new clothes, her attention drawn by something strange. The man comments that this uniform is more appropriate. The princess apologizes for the disturbance. She feels wary of the man. The princess reflects that she cannot escape and needs the information Loa has. Loa has the information the princess needs, and she realizes she must act thoughtfully. The man asks why the princess chose hell. The princess replies that she wants to take the throne. The man notes that it would then be better for him. He states that he will not act on her wishes despite her intentions. The princess is aware of this but says she also has no intention of becoming his puppet. The man agrees to provide information in exchange for a fair price. The princess explains that as a poor princess, she cannot offer riches. She hints that he may be interested in her blood. The man promises it won't be painful. The princess wants to learn information that will help attract people to her faction, regardless of their background. The man asks if the princess would like more. He expresses a desire for her to be more greedy. The princess notices that the man shows interest and wishes he could absorb the feelings at will. In the room, the girl tells the tall man that she will attend to business and rest late at night. She is left alone in the palace, returning there on her own. The girl speculates that Cetazzle's disappearance is usually meaningless, but she wonders who Wyan might have met. Her guess is that it must be someone from the royal family. She ponders if it could be Aya. Before going to bed, she tries to concentrate as she plays a guest that can't be ignored. Standing at the window, the girl notices the grandeur of the palace and, lost in her own thoughts, talks about the gates and walls she will be behind when she becomes empress. She thinks again about leaving the window. She is firmly resolved and ready to go on in spite of her fear. A man appears behind her and asks if she was expecting him. It was unexpected. He confesses that he wanted to spend more time with her. She suspects strange behavior and notices the smell of blood. The smell of blood is so strong that she thinks he's just killed an animal. The man addresses her by her name, Estelle. Tension arises. He ponders how he should treat those who pursue them with shadows. She expresses fears that depending on the seriousness of the offense, there will be a penalty. The man questions the importance of certain things, alluding to the significance of rules and boundaries. Estelle thinks this misunderstanding is ridiculous. Estelle thinks about the resulting misunderstanding, guessing what he meant by possession. She hesitates, assessing whether he was really talking about rule and power. The woman recognizes that it is not yet time for definite action. She clarifies to the man that she has not taken the throne, so he cannot claim any rights. This gives insight into her reluctance to move forward in the relationship. The man wonders why this matters because ultimately he believes that she needs him. Despite her feelings, the girl notices the boundaries becoming increasingly shaky and realizes that she is engaging in risky games. Despite knowing that such a relationship could lead to ruin, she decides to trust him, hoping for an emotional connection. The girl reflects on how her trust in him has grown so that she hopes for some kind of emotional connection with him. The man asks her the reasons for her actions. Estelle replies that she had to pay a high price to get the information. The man thinks she paid too much and asks her not to do it again if she doesn't want to face danger. He reminds her that she now knows about all the strong players and understands the strategy correctly. She also warns him to be more careful, and their conversation moves back to the study. He wonders if he has treated her badly, pointing out that he has always given her the best things. He emphasizes how he tried to give her everything he could, always choosing the best. The woman with black hair cries out in frustration after she had to comfort the empress, who was nervous about appointing an heir to the throne. She returns to deal with the mess left behind after the empress threw a tantrum over the choice of an heir, and notices that she didn't even have time to appreciate the new outfit. The woman accuses the guy of touching the princess. In response, he claims that everything happened because of her. The woman herself is clearly annoyed by his confession. Sitting on the floor, the guy laughs and claims that Sadazel is showing mercy while the woman looks at him unhappily. She states that it is simply because he needs his help to make the princess an empress. Otherwise his head would have been cut off long ago. The woman ponders about the guy touching the princess, knowing it would cause problems. She thinks the temptation was stronger than the fear of Sadazel. She asks the man how it went, pointing out that he should have considered the consequences. The man states that it was fine despite the reaction he received. The woman, however, skeptically leads him to realize the consequences. The woman thinks that her life has taken on new excitement thanks to the princess, but the current situation and the taste of blood bothers her. She has realized that once tasted this way, there will be no going back. Roa quickly sends the promised list, which methodically includes details about every house in the empire, from the highest aristocrats to the lowest. The secret affairs include hidden lovers and even birth secrets that remain unknown to the person most involved. At least one weakness is found for everyone to keep them in check. The girl thinks she's been reading for too long and decides to take a little rest. Ever since she returned from her mission at dawn, the snow hasn't stopped falling and the days are getting much colder. This person was the first person who gave her a sense of accomplishment, but at the same time left her with a deep sense of despair. As she looks back over the past, she realizes that her successes are only possible because she belongs to him. Last night he treated her like a toy, forcing her into humiliating acts. She decided to focus on what lies ahead and not think about it anymore. If she takes proper advantage of the situation, she can use the people on the list to change the outcome. The girl wonders if there is someone she likes. He disappeared without a trace after all the actions he had taken, and then suddenly reappeared as if nothing had happened. It really meant nothing to him. It's strange because she should only feel anger. However, in addition to that, she also feels a kind of relief. Perhaps it's because he's the first and only person she can have an honest conversation with. Before she met him, her days were even lonelier than they are now. She thinks about what a strange feeling it is to be understood and supported by someone. He tells her there are a few people she can get close to. He calls out to her using her name. He approaches her and offers her a hug. He asks why she is so tense and acts like she craves touch. He continues to whisper in her ear, noting her tenseness and slight surprise. She sighs and thinks about how it's best not to do this too often while he jokes about her reaction. She jokingly asks if he's going too far as he continues to tease her. He asks her opinion of the person in the note he hands her. Two people are described: the aristocratic son of Ryshan Raboff and another character who gradually became a chief officer. Her mother was from the southern continent, and it is said that she was brought as a slave from the desert. She recalls that this could be related to her own background because her mother was also from the southern continent. Although she was just a slave, his mother did a lot to change stereotypes, and there were rumors that her power was due to her long time in power. He says her mother knew what to do in a difficult case, and it was up to her to make the choice. In the library, one of the aides reports an anomalous phenomenon in the ice castle. A discussion appears about the possibility of the castle disappearing through a dimensional gap, but they consider the claim of whether the castle is actually in another dimension. The aide also mentions the crown prince's deteriorating condition and links his symptoms to the curse of the ice castle. Before agreeing to the proposal, they decide to cool down a bit and think about the information. They discuss the likelihood of a huge object like the ice castle disappearing completely through dimensional rips. question the reality of the existence of the ice castle and the idea of discussing it as a physical entity. Participates in a discussion about who might have control over the castle if it really exists. One participant argues that this position is too simplistic and narrow-minded. Another person comments on the speaker's strange behavior and admits to confusion. Seeing a noble woman accompanied by a servant, he is surprised at her high position. She is suggested to ask directions from a young girl who seems to know the direction. The girl declares that truth is eternal and unchanging. They are honored to meet a special person from the Tower of Truth and express their reverence. Watching the young lady know the rules of greeting for the scientists impresses those present. The scientists apologize for possible rudeness due to lack of social manners. She is asked if she is a great scholar and leader of the Tower of Truth. Her ability to recognize dignitaries is discussed, and she shares conclusions about the golden thread in her clothing. The girl expresses interest in exploring if scientists can understand the phenomenon of the disappearance of the ice castle. One of the scientists confirms the hunch and admires the younger generation for their pursuit of knowledge. He considers becoming her mentor and thinks of the potential for collaboration. They note that she could be a future great scientist with the right qualities. The scientists offer to escort her back along the right route. The young lady thanks them for their willingness to help and thinks how to reward them for the favor. They discuss the topic of the ice castle and wonder if these discussions can be continued in the future. The scientist is happy to invite her, saying that a seeker of truth is always welcome. He wants to know her name, hoping that her status will allow her to enter the Tower of Truth without barriers. The girl introduces herself as Estelle Eustace, expressing pleasure at knowing her. The background of the mansion describes the strange climate that appeared after the ice castle mystery and the crown prince who lost his strength due to an unknown disease. If the Tower of Truth releases an official statement to this effect, the unstable public opinion will burst into flames like dry grass. In the image, the girl with the book says that she has been observing the Tower of Truth for a long time, although the imperial family and aristocrats treated the scholars with disdain because of the books. The research of the Tower of Truth contributed to the development of the northern continent. The girl decides to gather her strength outside the imperial palace. The girl assumes that the great scholar Hessen probably sees this meeting as a mere coincidence and resents what is happening. The man wonders why the girl keeps smiling. The girl reflects that in a situation where you need to win someone's favor, it's best not to remain with a nonchalant expression. She explains that she smiled because of the circumstances, but if it didn't please someone, she was willing to change it. The man notes their enthusiasm about the new scientist from the Tower of Truth and explains that they lose interest when they learn her status. The man says he is disappointed and asks what upsets her. The girl thinks that if she wasn't a princess and didn't want revenge, she could be a scholar. The man makes the observation that she has a lot to prove to gain power, but doubts whether she realizes it. The man suggests they return to the palace as it is cold outside. When they arrive at the palace, they are greeted by chaotic surroundings due to the arrival of guests from the empress's palace. The servant explains that the visitors have arrived at the call of the empress for an unknown reason. The girl asks what the reason for the summons by the empress. The characters suggest that the situation looks suspicious, but no answers are provided. Despite her weakness, the girl decides to act decisively and heads towards the palace. She is upset about the recklessness with which the knights were dispatched and the taking away of her servants without her consent. She decides that it is time to pay a visit to Her Majesty the Empress. She smiles and decides to accompany her. She wonders why she is being taken to the Empress's palace. The servant tells the Empress that she brought the servant on her orders and mentions another person as well. The Empress invites the girl to enter and explains her attention to the girl by her characteristic actions. The girl guesses that it is because of the other character and meets the Empress, who greets her. The Empress informs her that she has summoned a servant to discuss urgent matters and asks the girl to leave the room. The girl is outraged that her servant has been taken without consent and demands that he be tried according to the laws of the palace if he has done something wrong. The Empress notes her right to take care of her own people, and the girl confronts her by noticing the criminal charge. The man asks what charge could really be brought. The empress replies that it does not concern them. However, the girl demands to know how his master is. The empress says she needs to speak to her servant in private. When the girl insists, the empress stops her. The girl says she is not accusing the empress, stating only a fact then causes a reaction. The empress makes a promise to return the servants in one piece, swearing on her name. The girl is again asked to leave the room to end the discussion. The girl is uncomfortable leaving them alone and expresses her doubts. She realizes that if the man refuses, nothing will happen, and notices that none of the northern powerful characters could harm him. However, she is still disturbed by the look one of the people present gave the man. She ponders whether he will reject the offer. She realizes that her ideas about him were incomplete and now she is not sure. A servant offers the girl a rest before she leaves the palace. The girl agrees, but her real goal is to realize how far the other characters' actions have gone. She realizes that she may be facing something inevitable in the future. Upon arriving at the room, she notices that the air is very hot. She ponders how resource-intensive it is to maintain the temperature using almost all the wood and coal from the royal stockpile. Finds a man sleeping in a hot room who actually appears to be cold. She realizes that another character's actions, done without deep thought, affect the life and death of people. The young man awakens and asks why she visited him. She explains that she was going to check on his condition and leave if he was asleep, but his reaction surprises her. The man asks her to come closer. He notes that she should have wished him dead, for if he died she would be content with that. She is close to him, and he assumes that she would refuse to breathe if he left her. He questions what they will say to each other if the situation worsens, but she supports him, understanding his emotional state. The first image shows 6 characters named Sadazel, Count Bellevue, Ileana, Emperor Hastian, Crown Prince Assalon, and Estelle. Each is depicted in a different cell. The woman promises to return something later and asks to be left alone for a while. She swears on her name. The woman wonders if only that voice and gaze were directed at her. A man wants to be loved by a certain man and tells him to come closer. A man addresses the empress, saying he will offer her 2 options and asks her to choose one. The man asks if he should tell someone about the crown prince or offer another option. The man talks about his offer, lick his foot here and now. The woman has to make a choice. The man reminds her to choose. The woman is surprised by this choice, knowing that even the best doctors have been unable to cure her illness, though the servant claims to know the remedy. Despite the empress's concern, the man offers to lick his shoes as an alternative, which causes her mixed feelings. The woman feels she should order this insolent man out immediately, but her body refuses to obey. The woman reflects on her true desires that have arisen because of the man. She realizes that the man she thought was out of reach is now in front of her eyes, close enough to reach. The woman, slurring her words, utters, "Your shoe, your foot." She confesses that she is willing to lick him out of any conviction, just so long as he allows it. The girl is on the bed with a man, and she says he's the reason she's barely kept in the castle. She claims it's not a lie. He recalls the moment when Ileana died and when someone tried to comfort him. Despite trying to take something important away from her, Estelle stays in the castle so that the man can play with her however he wants. She was constantly abused by Aslan and had to endure it in the cold palace. The man asks Estelle not to have unreasonable expectations and to know her place. The girl asks him if he is all right after something unexpected. The girl thinks about whether Sadazel is with Isla. She calls out to Sadazel and he continues on his way. She thinks that even a marble statue would look more alive than this man. At one point, a faint crack appears in his icy exterior. Through that crack, feelings are briefly seen directed in someone else's direction. She realizes that she finally knows what she wants from him. The girl wishes to become useful to him, even if the whole world would consider it impossible. Sadazel approaches, and she greets him. Someone asks if he had any tenderness. The man asks if she is curious. He explains that nothing significant has happened, but the empress has taken an inordinate interest in him. The girl reflects that Isla was unusual today. She questions whether he thinks it was because of him. The woman admits that he is capable of such a thing. The man states that he merely planted the seed that causes the impulses. The woman continues to think about her condition and the events that are happening around her. She warns him not to do this to her. He asks her if she fears him and in no way wants him to do something like that. This delicate bond between master and servant can be easily undone. She realizes how bitter the realization of this whole situation is. Now he wants to ask her a question, stating that he can smell the medicine. The man asks if she has visited the crown prince. She says that she has. He asks her not to deceive him. She admits that she wanted to confirm something and tells him about it. He reminds her that he told her not to do that, while gently touching her face. She admits that she's ready to do it again. The man and woman are next to each other. He feels her touch, which left a stranger's mark, and asks if she wants to do it again. The woman says that's not what she meant by hugging the man. The woman asks the man to stop something. The hug intensifies. The man asks how to cure the man named Ashion. The woman states that she will negotiate with the emperor. The servant informs the man that the documents for Empress Isla's birthday celebration have been prepared. The man responds positively. The celebration of Empress Isla's birthday was not just a celebration. It symbolized good fortune and showed the strength of the imperial family. Crown Prince Ashen's illness has changed everything drastically. They need to cure him to resolve the situation. The man feels he needs a drink. Talks about a girl from a faraway land and an attempt to connect. But it was all for nothing. The man remembers the woman with a cold heart, wanting to see her smile, not the icy expression on her face. The woman, born under the hot desert sun, couldn't stand the cold of the northern continent and became ill. Despite her illness, she never showed weakness, not even to him. The man reflects that if she had been more submissive, he would have solved everything for her. From the beginning, their relationship was far from ideal and ended badly. The first text is missing. An unknown character asks the man about his mother. They are shown repeatedly. The man ponders that if he had the chance to go back, what choice he would make. He decides it is useless to worry about it. The man has heard rumors that the Margrave is obsessed with the princess, and wonders what the cunning woman is up to. A servant announces Princess Estelle's request to meet with His Majesty. The man agrees to let the princess into the palace to listen to her. The man wonders how things have gone and admits that much has happened. The woman thinks that while away from the man she has awakened the devil of the ice castle, but does not say so aloud. The woman thanks the man for asking. She has heard of his meetings with the Margravine Persilia. She asks if that's why she has arranged today's meeting. The woman wonders why the Margravine would associate with a nameless princess like her. She explains that they were polite meetings. The man says that mere politeness is not the reason and asks what she wants, suspecting insincerity. The woman claims she knows how to cure the crown prince. The man is surprised. The woman is willing to share the knowledge in exchange for him recognizing her as a princess. Her wish is to be near His Majesty the Emperor, not hidden in a corner of the hall. The man notices that the girl is becoming more and more like her mother, which pleases him. He asks if she is the cause of the illness, since he knows her cure. The woman denies that she has such abilities and points out that it is a disease that even renowned doctors cannot cure. The man agrees that it is important to cure the prince, but hesitates. The first text is missing. The woman ponders in her mind that the man cannot even imagine her desire. The man urges the woman not to make trouble in the palace, reminding her of the trouble Ilana has caused. The woman thinks about what rights he has to mention her mother, and how she died for lack of care. Without his involvement, her mother would not have suffered so. The woman promises to listen carefully to the man, but remembers the past. The man agrees with her intelligence, but finds her cruel. The man agrees to her terms and offers to do as she wishes if possible. The woman sees the mother in bed and asks her how to be a good mother. She calmly answers. The mother says her child is loved despite what is happening, and the daughter asks her not to leave her. The mother tells her daughter that they are never apart. Her thoughts are always with Estelle. The mother assures her that despite the distance, they are together in thought. The daughter cries. The woman realizes it was a dream. The man next to her asks her if everything is all right and what made her cry in the dream. She calls it an old memory of her mother's death, thinking it was her fault for meeting Hastian. To the woman, this is an unwelcome memory. The man asks her not to cry. The woman sometimes says he seems like an angel to her, even though she knows he isn't. He asks to tell more, showing concern. A woman asks for an explanation. He asks if she remembers. The man reminds the woman of some common event. Picture shows a man asking another man if he remembers something. Girl sleeping peacefully in bed surrounded by flowers. Dream where the girl notes that it was a strange dream concerning someone else's problems. Then she wakes up and sees someone lying next to her, and then the girl thinks about what happened. The girl remembers that her dream was quite strange and like a memory. She then hugs another character in the memory and wonders if it was a dream or a memory. A girl who suddenly wakes up and sees a man standing in a room with papers in his hands. He tells her to remember exactly what happened. The girl realizes that it was only a dream and feels relieved about it. The main character describes how after the meeting he sent a stone that was given to him by another character and explains that the stone is supposed to cure the other character's illness. The news of the cure came as expected. The illness was cured after the stone was used. The girl receives a letter thanking the emperor for her help, which is exactly the attention she wanted. The heir's illness was cured and the world began to prepare for a new event and celebration. The picture depicts the noble guests at the feast and tells about the importance of the ball in society. The protagonist is working with papers, reflecting on the preparations for the important event. She is actively engaged in letters and finalizing her work. The character is in thoughtfulness while preparing for the ball and wonders what dresses to choose. The heroine says she spent all morning answering questions and has just finished, feeling tired. The maid who enters the room in a panic and addresses the heroine. The announcement of Marquise Persilia's visit to the heroine. Marquise Persilia welcomes the heroine to the emperor's limitlessness and glory. The marquise apologizes for the sudden visit, explaining it as a desire to see the heroine. The heroine and the marquise recall their agreement to prepare for the banquet together. The heroine remarks that she was not prepared for all the preparations. The heroine notices the marquise's gaze, and the maids watch them with surprise. The marquise asks for some tea to be brought, and the maids immediately obey the order. The marquise explains that she wants to be closer to the heroine and has therefore decided to come to visit on purpose. The marquise asks where Sadiel has gone. The heroine replies that she sent him on an errand to the library. A conversation takes place about Sadiel's destination and his errand related to books. The conversation continues and the heroine smiles at the thought of Sadiel doing such tasks with pleasure. It is recalled how Sadiel always tried to be helpful and helped the heroine with her clothes and hair. It is said that going to the library was an unexpected pleasure for Sadiel, perhaps because of the atmosphere. The heroine thinks that it might have been interesting for him, for he is like a lord of the castle enjoying such an activity. The heroine notices that the maid has worked harder than usual and admires the Marquise of Persilia's energy. The maids leave the room, leaving the heroine and the marquise to spend time together. The marquise suggests that the heroine leave the banquet preparations to her, promising to surprise everyone. The marquise assures the heroine that she will be the star of the banquet and asks her to keep certain details in mind. There is a discussion about the difficulty of choosing dresses and bringing them to the castle. The heroine reflects on the fact that she rarely bothered to choose a dress for the banquet. The heroine recalls how she had to wear old clothes while remaining in the shadows at balls. The heroine inquires about the condition of a certain person, inquiring about his or her well-being. There is a reflection on past events and the potential for new energy in a relationship. There is a conversation about another character's actions and confirmation of previous fears. The other character can't sleep, ruminating on the current situation and feeling anxious. An image in a mask appears and there is a reflection on her actions and what they mean for the character. The character reflects on past attempts and says that all that remains is to wait. He makes a greeting, and another character is surprised to see. An unexpected encounter occurs with the character appearing in a new guise. The character shows confidence and says that the other character should not be afraid of him. The other character questions the desires and goals of the encounter. Dialogue continues, discussing true intentions and interest. A character asks directly about the woman who said to take the throne. An intriguing denouement occurs where outside forces play a role. An expression of surprise is shown in response to the character's words. Mystical changes occur, symbolizing new agreements and commitments. The contract is said to have been concluded, indicating the beginning of a new phase. The characters are illustrated with their names: Cetazel, Count Belvo, Ileana, Emperor Hastian, Crown Prince Assalon, and Estelle. Each is depicted with a distinctive appearance and smile, suggesting their importance in the story. The protagonist prepares for the banquet by visiting the Moon Charade boutique several times. The architecture of the building emphasizes the importance of the event and the upcoming preparations. The heroine tries on many dresses to find one that Bien will approve of. Eventually, she settles on one outfit, her reflection in the mirror showing satisfaction. The lady in the black dress expresses admiration. For her, the dress is perfect, emphasizing the importance of the moment of preparation. The next day will be the day of the princess coronation, which will make her famous in society. This event is planned with great enthusiasm and excitement. The princess thanks Bien for her help. Bien responds by noting that it is a minor help in preparation and compares the coronation to a fairy tale. Bien describes how she improved the princess's original qualities to make them shine even brighter. Courtesy, speech, posture, and gestures are mentioned. The princess recalls that she had not heard such words since her mother's death. Despite the unfamiliarity of the compliments, she thanks them. While waiting, the princess suddenly wants to leave. However, she encounters a mysterious man and is surprised. The princess wonders how she knows other manners, mentioning that they are a little different from those of the north. Creates a different atmosphere. The woman notes that such manners add to the uniqueness. The princess, looking in the mirror, apologizes without revealing the reason for her regret. The princess apologizes again, but Bien doesn't give it much thought, telling her not to worry about it. The princess wonders why Loa hasn't shown up lately, assuming he's busy. That question goes unanswered. The woman avoids the question about Loa, despite the fact that the heroine has been frequenting Moon Charade. The princess ponders whether something has happened to Loa. The princess continues to think about possible problems at Loa's place, immersed in thinking alone with herself. Loa, surrounded by papers, is busy with important work. Princess recalls his advice of caution and not to trust anyone. The woman reminds the princess to trust no one. This advice is accompanied by an alarming warning. The princess is confused and wonders if she should not even trust Bien. She is trying to figure out how much she can trust her surroundings. Bien states that it is acceptable to use people out of necessity but not to trust them. This emphasizes her caution. Bien points out that people like them are far more dangerous than they may seem. This warning raises the alarm. Bien emphasizes that the princess is especially vulnerable because of her high position. The metaphors presented reinforce the atmosphere. While traveling in the carriage, the princess reflects on the fact that getting closer to her goal does not make her more confident. The apprentice feels loneliness. The princess, left alone, looks out the window and ponders her fate and experiences an attack of loneliness. Suddenly in the carriage, the princess feels a sudden loneliness. This moment reflects her inner feelings. She makes a decision not to be alarmed and stick to what she had been told, reminding herself of Bina. At night, while in the carriage, the princess reflects on the situation, steadily keeping her course for tomorrow. The princess is presented on stage in her robes. Her entrance to the event awaits her. The hall fills with anticipation of the event. The princess prepares to appear at the study. Her appearance in the mirror causes some envy of others. The princess declares that her appearance will cause a lot of conversations and emotions among those gathered in the hall. The hall is decorated in honor of the winter reception, catching the snowflakes of the leaden sky. Inside the hall there is an atmosphere of anticipation. Bien prepares for the arrival of the princess, expressing excitement before her. All eyes are focused on the door from where she is supposed to appear. Bien feels nervous, realizing the importance of the moment. She ponders the consequences if she fails. Those gathered notice that the princess is late, discussing possible reasons for the delay. People share speculation about her plans. The guests ask the marquise for her opinion on the time of the princess's appearance. She answers evasively, giving the significance of her information. The marquise notices the fierceness of the conversations surrounding the princess and her awareness of other events going on around her. Sounds resound in the hall, drawing the attention of those gathered to the impending announcement of the event. The sounds of trumpets add to the solemnity. Enrisha Fair, daughter of Count Fair, enters the hall. Her appearance causes excitement and questions among the guests. Bien is surprised to see Enriha and notes that she is not a princess. Her words emphasize the resemblance of the girls. Bien ponders how the princess and Enriha are so similar, expressing doubts about their real motives. Bien is proud, calling the princess her masterpiece that has exceeded her expectations. Bien is confident of her superiority. The princess appears, attracting the attention of everyone in the room. She addresses the Marquise Persilia with refined manners. To the sound of fanfare, the marquise introduces the princess to the audience, eliciting admiration and cheers. The women gasp at the sight of the princess, marveling at her stunning appearance. Bien watches their reactions with satisfaction. The emperor and empress appear on the balcony, inviting the princess to come up to them. This concludes the ceremonial part. The princess observes the gathered people at the ball from the top step. She is reminded of her safety as she walks on. Hastien kept his promise and didn't take credit for discovering Assalon's cure. He probably wants to make sure of something. Probably wants to know if she has some other patron besides the Marquis of Paralia. Assalon looks slimmer than before, but not like a sickly person. Seeing Assalon next to Lady Enrica, who has similar eye and hair colors to hers, the girl feels a chill run down her spine. There are rumors of an engagement between Lady Enriha and Assalon. She doubts that the engagement will take place due to some doubts. A man expresses his joy at the long-awaited family reunion. A girl standing nearby asks about the gift she has prepared to impress the princess. The princess, whom no one was interested in, has become the center of attention. Someone cheers and declares that the princess is the best. A woman expresses suspicion as to why the crafty woman is so close to the princess. She used to wear the dress that was sent to her without complaint and attend the banquet. Now everything has changed when the Marquis of Paralia, owner of Moon Charade, has become her ally. Everyone is interested in the princess and wants to know how she won the marquise's favor. The assembled guests want to know how she won the marquise's favor and play musical instruments. During her own birthday party, the attention turns to the event. According to protocol, the princess is supposed to dance with her partner, but that moment as always does not come. A woman compliments her, saying that the princess looked gorgeous earlier. The princess thanks Bien for the compliment. Bien notices that the princess is still not dancing, and warns that rushing could get her in trouble. Just showing her strength next to the emperor was enough to accomplish her goal. The princess says she is leaving. A moment from the past pops up in her mind. She remembers how the man easily led her in a dance after a long time. Even if she doesn't want to think about it, it's natural for him. She wishes Saddle was here, because that was the only good memory associated with the banquet. It was the only good memory associated with banquets in her life. While she and Bien were preparing for the banquet at Moon Charade, Saddle hardly showed his face. Even if they had only discussed costumes, she hadn't been able to make it to his performances. Despite that, she prepares excellently. She thinks his absence is natural. She marvels that Saddle is here. Even in simple clothes, he shines more than the others. It seems to her that he has used some sort of powers, but no one notices his presence. Why doesn't anyone notice Saddle's presence? She ponders why no one notices Saddle, and suddenly begins to realize. Everything stops as she looks around. The music, the conversations, and laughter all fade away. Everything looks like a scene from a painting, reminiscent of the cliffhangers of such scenes. Saddle, approaching, offers her his hand. The whole scene resembles a beautiful painting. The princess asks why he is here. He states that he should be here. He gently touches her face, believing that this is an important moment for her. This event will be a memorable one. For him, as an eternal being, this moment in the hall will be memorable. But he has come only for her. It is only for her that he is here. He asks her for the first dance. She wonders how she could refuse this offer. Fascinated, she accepts the hand extended to her. In the image, the girl gazes into the dress, her eyes expressing surprise and joy. The caption on the image says that the dress is very much to her face. The girl thanks for the compliment, being surrounded by dancing couples who create an atmosphere of celebration. A man asks the girl if she likes the bouquet as they dance in a room filled with roses. A flashback of a girl wanting to attend the banquet. The past masquerade had been different, and now it was worth putting that behind her. All the dancing couples along with the girl follow the rhythm of the music in the large hall, unaware of anything going on around them. The girl remembers another time and place, sitting in her room and looking out the window, distancing herself from the outside light. Leaves come off the books and the girl looks at them with interest. She is overwhelmed with emotion, leaving her feeling light. Memories pop up like lines of a book, where they are written about something important and close to the girl. The girl dreams of a ball in a beautiful dress and dancing with a handsome prince, drifting her thoughts back to her childhood memories. Recalls her childhood wishes as if it were yesterday. Her dreams are filled with fairy tale images that live in dreams. The girl asks her companion a question, comparing him to an angel from a book and wishing for a promise to be converted. Against the backdrop of the dancing hall, the girl thinks about how funny all this is getting to her now. The couples continue to dance under the light of the chandelier. The girl thanks all that her solitary childhood has been alleviated by her own imagination. The girl is tense, asking if everything is okay. He replies that perhaps the silence makes everything seem wrong. The man suggests that it may be because the silence around him is too wary, resulting in some confusion. The girl freezes for a moment, as if stop time is starting to move again. All the couples dance automatically, the unfamiliar music directing their movements. This gives the girl a strange sensation. The girl realizes that for a moment she was only one of many puppets, but in reality she herself is one of them. If the man loses interest in her, she fears she will become like the other dancers here. She has an understanding of all these points, but despite this, she is still glad he came for her. She says that she is glad the man came to find her, and their conversation continues among the dancers. However, the girl reflects on the fact that she wishes he had not been so kind. The man turns his attention to the name, Estelle, when he notices her hesitation. He notes that she is now finally looking at him as they continue to dance in the hall. The man asks if they should kiss while simultaneously addressing the girl named Estelle. She is a little embarrassed but replies that if he wants them to, they can. The next moment catches them kissing, and it makes them feel light and happy. He says he wants to do more, but stops with a slight smile. He explains that he doesn't want to ruin her outfit that she so carefully chose. He continues by saying that it would be a shame if it was ruined. He asks her if she's going to keep looking at him like that, finding something sizzling about it. He suggests that she calm down and if only time could stop, they would stay here forever. For a moment the girl convinces herself otherwise. She only says no, snuggling up to him. She is drawn back to the music, the sounds of which bring her back to the present moment in the banquet hall. The two ladies ask the man for some time to talk to them, creating a bit of a change of scenery. Estelle apologizes and says she needs to go outside for some fresh air to cool down a bit from what is happening. Outside, in front of a lofty building, she addresses the other lady who met her with respect. The character reminds readers to visit Webtoon.com to support the publication of new chapters. He assures that readers will enjoy it and wishes them a pleasant reading experience. On the balcony, Estelle says that she was asked not to show her face in a certain area before visiting the ballroom. The woman in the brown dress suggests that the other woman may be jealous. She thinks this is impossible since she has everything. The character in the green dress mentions that the Marquis provided her with a new dress and she wore it. The woman admires it, noting its beauty. Estelle asks her interlocutor if she has probably been banned from a certain area. The woman in green jokes that she was just banned, smiles broadly, though it is amusing. The woman in the brown dress laughs, expressing surprise and saying that she now understands the true intentions of her interlocutor. Estelle states that she wants to show her interlocutor something really interesting, and does so with a gesture. A man asks what is going on. Another man says to get up and wake up. A man asks Estelle to explain what is happening when she appears before him. A man admits that he has been looking for a girl for a long time and is glad he finally found one. The man wonders how the servant got into the place. He remarks that low-ranking servants are not allowed to be here. The woman expresses her joy that the man has come to visit her. The man invites the girl inside as it is cold outside. The man in black expresses bewilderment at how a servant can stand so high. One of the men warns the other, holding him at gunpoint, and asks if he wants to die here. The man replies that he does not want that and agrees to carry out the order. The man demands an apology for disobedience and calls for one. The girl is surprised and wants to interfere with what is happening, stating that she can't let that happen. The man tells Estelle to move away or he may hurt her, wanting to protect. An assault occurs in which blood spills, and this causes displeasure on the part of one of the participants. A man near the girl asks her not to look at what has happened. A disturbed man awakens from a dream and is perplexed as to the whereabouts of. A man reflects on the events at his mother's banquet and tries to understand why he is in his room. He reflects on his bad mood and the irritation caused by Estelle. He admits that at the banquet the dress looked spectacular on her. The man admires looking at Estelle on the balcony and wonders how she could have done what happened. He says that he saw Estelle walking to the terrace and thought about following her to talk. The man admits that he does not remember what happened. He feels as if someone has deliberately erased all his memories. He asks to call Count Rains to find out what happened at the banquet. When the Count enters the room, he asks if he has been summoned. The man becomes ill and collapses in front of those present in the room. In a panic, he demands that the snake causing fear and excitement be removed from his eyes immediately.